we go.
Boy reviews.
Cut to my students falling asleep in class.
Hey guys, Nick here.
Gabe?
And we're here to review another movie. Hope you're excited to hear about it. And the movie is... Where's it at? Who am I not paying back there? What? We gotta say... Think it's gonna work?
Let's try it.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Shazam! Oh, there it is. All white background. Thing of beauty. Even has the Rotten Tomatoes score on it, because you know that Shazam, what we're talking about today, it's right there, is a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think that's the highest besides Wonder Woman as far as DC movie goes. So, Boring Review Nation, here's my boy Gabe right here. I mentioned him in my first video. He's going to be here quite a bit to help me out. He's almost as knowledgeable about movies as I am. So, Gabe, what are some of your feelings about the story of Shazam?
You know, I really liked the story. They went off the new 52 version. I think it's more adaptable to today's generation. I saw it last night for the first time. I know I'm ashamed of myself, but went with the wife and kids and my daughter, who's 12, and 12 going on 20. This is the first superhero movie she's ever gone to where the first thing out of her mouth when it finished was, "When's the next one coming out?" So I think that this is very relatable, and it's a lot to do with the acting and the writing. The boy that played Freddy was amazing. Nick, what was his name again?
Jack Dylan Grazer. He's right here.
Jack Dylan Grazer. That guy right there. Future heartthrob.
Yeah, he's been in It, and I think he had a TV show on CBS that I watched. I can't remember what it was, but it was short-lived, but he did a good job. I agree. Overall, you got Jack Dylan Grazer here. He did a great job. He was that superhero nerd, which reminded me of us, and he knew all about the superheroes, and he did a great job. Watch out, Gail. I'm going to get rid of him right now. All right, cool. He did a great job. Overall, I really like this movie as well. We both are huge DC fans. I have my Flash on, but Flash and Shazam symbols are very similar, so I got basically the Shazam shirt on. DC movies have had a rough takeoff, but they've had a very nice cruise sailing for the last little while with Aquaman, which is one of our personal favorites. Wonder Woman was great, and now we have Shazam, and we have 2 DC movies in a row. The overall story I had a lot of fun with. It's a very, very funny movie. It's definitely a comedy, probably the funniest DC movie they have. The actors did a great job. Let's talk about Zachary Levi. How awesome was he?
Zachary Levi, the guy from Chuck, nerdy guy, super skinny, like, really, this guy? But the suit looks cheesy, but it's part of the gag, and
there he is.
It was absolutely believable. He was the best part of the movie by far. Some of the child actors were really good as well. The character that played Darla, she was a scene stealer. My daughter loved her. I think the entire theater loved her. But Zachary Levi really, really made the movie. And I think DC, between Aquaman and now Shazam, it's really... They're going in the right direction, and I just hope that they keep the levity in the movie, because that's the thing. There are dark parts in the movie, yeah, but they had enough levity to balance it out. It wasn't all dark.
Some of the dark parts kind of brought me out of the movie, and we'll talk about that when we talk about some things we didn't like. But I agree, Zachary Levi, amazing. I love it when they announce an actor, like Heath Ledger for the Joker, and your initial reaction is, ugh, this is going to be horrible. The guy from 10 Things I Hate About You, what are you doing? But obviously, we all know Heath Ledger gave a legendary performance. Right. And Zachary Levi, it's a different character, but I would agree with the little amount of expectation I had for him, he gives a legendary performance because you believe him as Asher Angel, as this 15-year-old kid who just got superpowers. And there's going to be some spoilers in this video, one in particular. It's not a huge spoiler, but when he's doing the Rocky music and the lightning out of my hands, I thought that was awesome.
That was classic, because it's... The film takes place in Philadelphia, yeah. So they play a little bit on Rocky there, and they're even at one point in the movie on the steps. And he makes reference to it, so it's a little Easter egg there. Great film.
Yeah, there's a lot of comedy. Like you said, the actors all did a fine job. For those of you that watch Walking Dead, you had Jerry from The Walking Dead in this as the foster dad, so I thought that was cool. He had a small little role. Overall, the story was fine. The action was good, was very good. I even liked, I can't say his name, but the man that played the wizard, Jaimin Housu, he did a great job as the wizard. In the trailer, I thought, this is going to be a little hokey, but he was excellent. He was very believable. There was a lot of dark features, a lot of dark creatures, which I guess we'll get into it right now. For me, that kind of took me out of the movie because you have this family-friendly movie. I first saw it with my 2 kids for a sneak preview weeks ago, and when we left the theater, the dark elements turned them off to the movie. It took them out of the movie. And for me, it was very contrasting to have a family movie and a dark movie all within the same movie. I felt like that was a bad choice. What did you think about the horror elements?
You know, I think that the movie was split into, instead of 3 acts, 2 acts. It was part horror movie, part superhero action movie. And I didn't mind the horror elements myself. I love it. But again, I went with my entire family. My 8-year-old was there. This speaks volumes about him, loved the part where, I'll just say, I don't want to make it too spoilerish, but there's an office scene that was epic. Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. But for a younger audience, it might be a little rough. Some jokes as well were not your usual Disney jokes. Not your usual.
Maybe above PG-13.
Yeah, a little bit above PG-13. All I gotta say is, you don't want that kind of glitter. That was probably my favorite line.
That was a good line.
That was a good line. But, you know, it was awesome. It was awesome. And I think that taking these directors that aren't known for doing comic book heroes, the director was previously known for doing horror movies as well, and putting them in a different type of genre, it works. It works. I think the one thing, the only thing I would say that turned me off to that was, for the younger audience, you know, again, my 8-year-old loved it, but you're talking about 3-year-old, 5-year-olds. I believe, Nick, you went with your youngest son who's just turning 5. That's going to be a little, you know, it's going to be a little tough. They're going to be covering up their eyes. And, you know, I've heard stories of, you know, families having to walk out with their younger kids because the scene was too strong. But I think that that's why it has a PG-13 warning. There are going to be some stronger content, a little bit of stronger content in it.
Yeah, I think, I agree with you. I think, again, the horror element was probably the biggest flaw. DC's had a hard time trying to be consistent in their movies, and I'm more of a DC guy. I love the MCU, but I'm more of a DC guy, and I'm waiting for them to be as awesome as they can be, and this is definitely a huge step in the right direction, just like Aquaman was. But the horror part confused me, and I think this is the problem. When you're thinking about the numbers, there's numbers right there. $260 million on an $80 million budget. That's a huge success financially.
Huge success.
But it could have made so much more money so far. It's definitely going to stop making money next week when Endgame comes out.
Right.
So they have one more weekend ahead of them. They definitely have made their budget back, but I feel like it could have made more money if it was more of a family-friendly. Because I think the younger kids aren't really relating to him because of those scary elements. And I think only the older fans like us, not that we're that old, are really going to appreciate that. And so I think that was a big miss. I think your other son mentioned that he liked Captain Marvel.
Right.
The second Captain Marvel. We know Shazam was the original. He liked Captain Marvel better.
Right.
And I think that speaks to MCU's ability to tap into all audiences.
Right. Again, a little spoilerish, but Shazam, and those of you that have read the comic or know the story, because the Shazam family should really be geared toward a younger audience. And again, Darla, the scene stealer, you know, she did a good job doing that and capturing that young audience. But again, it was 2 movies, and I think they could have done, honestly, without that office scene, and it would have been just as good, if not better. And it was one of those things where the director made a choice, and again, $260 million. Yeah. Okay. Who am I to speak? It paid off, but it could have done without it, I would think.
Now, going back with that boardroom scene, for families, yes, it was not very great, but it helped to establish the villain, at least. Would you agree? We both really liked the villain. You got Mark Strong right there, and I got a picture here of Mark Strong in from Green Lantern and Mark Strong in Shazam, because those are 2 DC movies he was in. I like him in both the DC movies, to tell you the truth.
Right.
I feel like Mark Strong gets a bad rap because he can never really reach that awesome potential of actor heights. But I really liked him as a villain. I'm hearing a lot of complaints about him as the villain. They didn't give him much to do, and I thought he took that role of that kind of that weakling who has something to prove, who wants to pay revenge on all the people that have hurt him to that next level where he now gets these powers and he has no remorse for the things he's doing. I love Mark Strong's performance.
Well, I think that, you know, it's funny they had that commercial about how all the best bad guys are played by British, you know, actors. And Mark Strong's an unbelievable actor. He did a fabulous job. He's one of the reasons this movie works, because you have to have a believable bad guy. It's not, I just want to take over the world for the 18th time for no reason other than just because I can. He has real motivations, real world motivations. And, you know, you can see because his journey, he even has an arc in this movie that starts early on. And his journey is a lot about really, he wants redemption and he wants to prove his naysayers, which unfortunately are his own family members, wrong, and his detractors wrong. He was awesome. I don't know how people have a problem with the villain. I know that some people expected the villain to be, and again, most of you know that The Rock has already been cast as Adam, but you know, I think that's why they were expecting The Rock, they were expecting Adam, as opposed to, you know, Mark Strong and Dr. I can never pronounce it either. Savannah, there you go, Savannah.
Yeah, Dr. Savannah. I thought he was great too, because again, we want to focus on Zachary Levi. We want to focus on, here's a big spoiler at the end, probably the best scene in the movie. I was telling him that the first time I watched it, I was getting out of the movie near the end of during that third act. I've mentioned before that third act many times. It gets so many movies. But then they surprised, I'm not even sure what the comic book name is for the family that all have the Shazam powers, but when they turned all of those awesome foster siblings, they all did a great job, into other Shazam superheroes, that was the moment where I feel like that movie went up a whole bunch. And even the audience, we watched it last night, 3 weeks after it came out, the audience was buzzing at that moment. That was a genius move, and that really brought everything together, I thought. What did you think about that?
Again, the best part about the movie, the Shazam family, and I think that's where they brought the younger audience back in. Hopefully for the next movie, they focus more on the Shazam family. Again, Darla should get a bigger role because she was amazing.
Even the actress that played her when she was older, she could still see she's a 7-year-old when she sees Santa Claus and whatnot.
You know, I didn't think about that. All the adult actors did a good job portraying children being in adult superhero bodies, because they all still had those, you know, children mannerisms. And again, Zachary Levi did it for an entire movie, so he really did a good job.
And that's a credit to the direction right there. It's David F. Sandberg, who, again, like you said, is a horror director. He definitely had his finger on the pulse, so to speak. So let's go ahead and talk about grade now, unless there's something else you want to mention about the movie that we haven't mentioned yet.
No, I think it's a great movie, and you know, personally, my initial reaction, I mean, immediately I texted you last night and let you know I love the movie. I love the storyline. It's not a perfect movie by any stretch of the imagination, but as far as DC films are concerned, I absolutely think it's top 3 behind Aquaman and Wonder Woman, and I would grade it. My grade would be a A-.
Ooh, A-.
A-.
There it is. It's up there above his head. You see it. A-. Woo! It's a big grade. I'm not quite as high, but I am definitely optimistic about this movie. I will say, watching it a second time, I enjoyed it much more. Maybe it was the father in me worrying about my kids the first time. There's a few parts that are slow, but Zachary Levi carries this movie. Even Asher Angel, we haven't mentioned him yet. He did a great job as young Billy Batson. So overall, I would definitely put it number 3 as well in the DCEU. I would give it a B. Just a solid B. And again, for me, a B, that's a really good grade. That's a fresh grade. That means I liked it a whole lot. I just didn't love it as much as other movies I've seen. But I definitely can see at the end of the year this being definitely in my honorable mentions, at least as far as my top 10 goes. But there you have it. There's our review. I hope you liked it. If you did like it, then don't forget to like it and subscribe to our channel. We are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, so you can help us out a ton by getting there. Again, my man Gabe here, he's got the Polk High jersey on.
4
Al
touchdowns,
Bundy.
1 game.
4 touchdowns. Can you believe that? In 1 game. He's going to be here more often to help us out with reviews, and we can't wait next week when we're going to drop our in-game review. Once we see it, we haven't seen it yet. If Disney wants to send us some advance tickets, then by all means.
I will go.
We will be there. But until then, adios.